So let's talk about this spatial plugin. Okay, I'm hoping that this is more obvious than not, but this is definitely a kind of a new thing. It's something that has been developed by a colleague of mine, and his company is called Artisans. It's spelled, I hope I don't mess it up here, ARTISYNS, artisans.com. So yeah, ARTISYNS. So check out that website. They have this plugin here that's called rL360. So it's a binaural plugin. Now I use the word spatial audio because it's kind of a sort of a hot word right now. Spatial audio, from what Apple is putting out, is a different thing, but it's similar. Okay, and I'm not going to get into the 2-hour conversation explaining about Atmos and all of that, but spatial audio and binaural is something that is being more experienced by the mainstream. And what I was trying to do with this plugin, so the gentleman that created this, Jeff Stone is his name, he created this plugin and asked me to try to use it in a mixing context to try to figure out, hey, like, what can this do? Do you enjoy using it? And one of the things that I really enjoyed about it was, binaural has been around for a while. It's been around for a long time. So it's not new. You can do it in Logic. But when we're working in like Pro Tools and Ableton, we don't have binaural panners that are easily accessible to us. So, and to be clear, binaural is sending the sound around your head. It's hearing things in a realistic space in relation to your head. So it's not just stereo. We hear things in stereo on sort of this like XY axis when we mix stereo music, right? And then we add that depth for that Z axis. But binaural is putting things around a 360-degree globe around your head. So it's really, really different sounding. And what I sort of like, his challenge and the challenge to myself was how do I apply this in just a stereo mix? Can I use this? Is it gonna be cool? And the answer is yes. Okay, this thing gave me this depth that I feel like we always try to get in our music. And I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate that for you right now. So basically what I have going on here, I have 2 instances of his plugin. One is essentially sending my drum bus to right next to my left ear, the other one to my right ear. So it's, you can see I got 2 instances of that plugin here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to let me go ahead and mute what is basically the excuse me, I'll go on the right part here. Oh, is there a question? Hold on one second. Let me just, so I have my layers here. This is basically the dry layer, so the or we'll say the non-binaural layer, and then we have the sort of that depth that I'm talking about, that binaural layer here. So let me address this question and then we'll get to listening. That's a really good question. It's not anything like that. So when you're talking about the Ozone Imager, you're still talking about stereo processing on an XY axis. This is like, I could put it behind you. And again, it's like, well, I didn't actually go into detail about this, but we're not talking about setting up multiple speakers and doing it like we would surround or even Atmos. This is just using the things that we know about how we experience sound in a real space because of our ears and the shape of our ears, and applying that so that we can give the illusion of the sound being either behind us or further away from us. Everything that's not just on that XY 2-dimensional plane that we're used to in stereo music. So check this out. This will kind of show you a little bit what I'm talking about, because I use this sound or this plugin all over the mix. So we're definitely going to see it in action today. So here is so this is the dry drums, right? This is what we've been listening to. And here's the binaural layer. So it's different, right? It feels like, now this is the thing, if you're listening in headphones, it's the most effective. And that's why, spatial audio, same thing. Spatial audio from Apple is only available in AirPods, so it decodes to spatial audio. So basically, this whole spatial audio in headphones experience is best experienced when you're listening through either headphones or some type of earbud. So If you're listening in headphones like I am, it feels like it's kind of behind you. Now I'm going to play it first dry without the effect, and then I'm going to add the effect, and I want you to hear what it adds to the drums. So this is just dry. And here's with the effect. Without it. I think my volume got tweaked a little bit here. Yeah, I think it was more like that. So without it. With it. Yeah, I think before I accidentally double clicked on my volume here, but what I did is I brought that back, so that way I wasn't getting too much of that. You heard a little bit of a delay there. Now with space we get delay, and that's why you hear that, is because to perceive distance there has to be a delay in the sound, so that's why you get that artifact. But by pulling it back a little bit, you can hear. And you might say, well, it kind of sounds like reverb. And the idea here is that we're not just going to add crazy amounts of this to one sound, right? We're going to add little bits of it to many sounds to help sort of give this sense of depth. Now, I wasn't trying to, and this was a conversation I have with the developer, I'm not trying to do what they did when stereo first came out, which was like, hey, we now have stereo. Let's put the drums in the left speaker and the vocals in the right speaker. That was like, flexing on stereo. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to just add this as a nuance. And I think as a nuance, it's really cool. You get that sort of that different kind of depth that you might with a room reverb, for example. So again, here's dry. And here's with the plugin. So yeah, so it adds a really cool amount of depth, and I love it. So you'll see this more in action as we go through the mix.